It's an investigation underway tonight into a case of voter intimidation.
Election officials in Washington and Warren counties are warning residents about people impersonating Board of Election officials. News 10 ABC's Tamara Starr is in the studio tonight with the details on what took place. Tamara.
Over the weekend, Warren County officials say two women visited a home and claimed to be a part of the Warren County Board of Elections. Then they accused the resident of being registered to vote in both Washington and Warren counties. And officials say it's not just happening in those two counties.
But we do know that they were confronting her that she was registered, saying that she was registered twice in New York State, which is illegal to register twice. And that information was not correct, but they were confronting her that she had done something illegally, which she had not done, and it upset her tremendously.
Officials say the woman who moved from South Glens Falls to Warren County was so shaken up, she immediately called the Warren County Board of Elections.
She indicated that these people, said they were from Washington County elections and that they had some questions about the legality of her registration, and she kind of thought something was a little unusual there.
Both Warren and Washington County Sheriff's offices are investigating the matter. The State Board of Elections says people have been impersonating Board of Election employees in 9 other counties across party lines, and more may be coming in.
Police would like, of course, as much information about who these people are as they can get, a license plate number, descriptions, if they have an ID badge of some sort, but we also don't want people to endanger themselves and confront these people.
And county officials are reminding people that no one from the Board of Elections will ever visit a home. If there are any registration issues, the board will either call the voter or mail a letter.
It's unfortunate, and now it's gotten to the point where it's veered into voter intimidation, which is just not acceptable, and not something that we will ever allow.
Those impersonating a Board of Elections official or any public servant can be charged with criminal impersonation.
Impersonating election officials is really the paramount concern here. People going out and purporting to be the trustees of election administration, is horrifying.
The Board of Election officials hope that this will not affect canvassing for local and state election candidates, especially as we get closer to the November elections. News 10 did reach out to both Washington and Warren County Sheriff's offices, but neither were able to comment at this time. In studio, Tamara Starr, News 10 ABC.
All right, thank you so much, Tamara. If you still have not registered to vote in the upcoming general election in November, there are some important deadlines you need to know about. If you want to vote by an absentee ballot, the last day to apply for that by mail is October 23rd. Then November 6th will be the last day to apply for an absentee ballot in person. Ballots are then due on Election Day, November 7th. For the latest on the upcoming general election, be sure to stay with News 10 both on air and online at news10.com.